Dear Nargis, we are live. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Tahmina. So, good afternoon, good evening, and good time, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to another inspiring session in Woman Ascension 1 Million Leadership 2030 mentorship series hosted by Department of AI and Understanding of AI STEAM Learning Department. I'm Nargis Ahmadi, Head Assistant of AI STEAM Learning Department, and your moderator for today's session. In our tonight's session, we will focus on one of the most crucial skills for any innovator or change maker, how to choose and frame a project. Because every great idea begins not with a perfect plan, but with a clear, meaningful question, a purpose that guides everyone that follows. It's a true honor to welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Marta Omana, an award-winning educator, author, and international speaker with over 20 years of experience in bilingual education and teacher leadership. She is the founder of AI Educator and the author of How to Stay Calm While Raising Resilient Kids, a book that beautifully reflects her philosophy of balance, empathy, and purposeful learning. Dr. Marta empowers both teachers and parents to integrate AI and human skills to build resilience, foster meaningful learning, and create a world where technology and humanity grows together. Her unique ability to connect emotional intelligence, leadership, and technology makes her the perfect voice to guide us today. And now, dear participants, before we begin, let me remind you something essential. Every session is an opportunity not just to listen, but to act and apply what you learn. Take note, reflect deeply, and think of how today's insights can shape your own project ideas. Choosing and framing your project is your first step toward creating impacts, and today's session will help you to exactly that. Dr. Martha, we're honored to have you with us once again. Thank you for your presence, your generosity, and your inspiration. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I am honored to be here and I'm very thankful to count with your presence today. And I hope I can guide you to do your framework. Many of us have paused our career not because we stop caring or we don't like it anymore, but because life needed us somewhere else, isn't it? But today we'll see that that pause is an absence, it's an insight. Every pause holds data for what comes next. Let's go to slide 2, please. Today, we move from ideas to action. Think of this as the moment when reflection meets design. Imagine a woman, we're going to use this example so we can visualize, who paused her career to care for her family. She's talented, qualified, but now unsure where to start again we are still in the two, where to start again in a tech-driven world. Her idea is simple. Help other women like her regain confidence through short, practical AI learning sessions that fit real life. That idea is her spark, the seed of her leadership. In this session, we will learn how to turn a spark like her into structure. So let's see in this slide that we have, that is slide number 3. Here is where your leadership journey. You explore your purpose and your leadership model. Now you are at the framing state. That's our session. The bridge between knowing and doing. Or example of that woman is cruising that bridge right now. She's beginning to ask, what problem am I really solving? Then she realized it's not about teaching technology, it's about rebuilding confidence. So she framed it really well. Then she asked, who is directly affected? Women returning from caregiver roles. Finally, what will look different if I succeed? They will be ready to re enter learning and work again. So, those three questions mark the shift from caring to leading. These three questions prepare us for design thinking. They come right before the framework begins. When we emphasize, we listen and feel what others experience. When we define, when we name the real problem behind those feelings. The woman in our story is right at that moment. She finished empathy and is about to move to definition. When she define her challenge clearly, she'll be ready to ideate and experiment. From this point forward, we will follow her journey through three frameworks. First, the heart of design thinking, then the skeleton, that is the theory of change, and finally, the circulation of systems that keep her idea alive. Now, let's go to slide 4, please. Four. We are 2 ahead. Yes, thank you. Why does framing matters? Because clarity is power. When she names the challenge clearly, everything else becomes easier. Resource, partners, and time, everything aligns. Efficiency flows because she now focuses on the root cause. Confidence, not content. And the impact comes because her idea now has a direction. That's the outcome of good framing: clarity, efficiency, and impact. Each of you will do the same with your idea before this hour ends. Let's go to slide 5, please. On slide 5, we'll see how she begins shaping her idea through design thinking. First, she empathizes with what is happening. She talked with other mothers to understand what blocks them. They say, by example, courses take too long, they are too rigid. She defines the problem. Learning programs for caregivers are not built for flexible life. Then she comes with a small solution. If I would do weekly 15 minutes AI tutorials, I will make a change. Now, this is how her empathy moves to design. What she did, she listened, she defined. That is design thinking in motion. It's how the empathy turns into creativity and how that creativity becomes leadership. Let's go to slide 6. If you have any question at this moment, please let me know. Okay, let's continue. She Now connects her idea to measure change using a theory of change. There is where visions becomes a plan. First, she identified her inputs. What are the inputs? The ingredients that make her project possible. For hers, those include her time and her experience, a laptop, an internet connection, free aid tool that she's already learning to use, and the mentorship available through Code and Care. Inputs are whatever you can access or organize right now. Your knowledge, skills, relationship, or materials. They are the fuel of change. Now come her activities. The actions she will take. She'll design short AI tutorial, hosting support circles online, and creating a simple confidence journal. From this come the outputs, which are the visible products of her work. Women completing at least one mini course and sharing feedback. The outcomes are the transformation that follows. Renewed confidence, improved digital fluency, a growing sense of community. Finally, the impact, which is what happens when these results ripple outwards. Women re-enter the workforce, employers begin to notice their adaptability, families benefit from new income. And entire communities start viewing caregiving pauses as a leadership training, not career loss. That's what measurable change looks like. A thread that runs from your time and energy all the way to social impact. Now let's go to slide 7, please. Now she clarifies the challenge. Let's check her reasoning with these questions. What was the problem? Who is directly affected? What will look like different when I succeed? She has the problem statement. Next, she will see how she turn into action through design thinking. Let's go to the next slide, please. System thinking and a glance. So let's follow this. Now she is in the design stage of design thinking, which are prototype and test. She built a simple 1-week mini course through WhatsApp voice. It's not perfect, but it's practical. 3 women volunteered to it. They finished, they sent feedback, and she discovered something powerful. Short, flexible tasks matter more than technology itself. Then is the reflection moment in design thinking, learning through real experience. Each test gives her data of her theory of change. So the learning loop is complete. She empathizes, she defines, she creates, she prototype and test. That's the evidence. Before we move, let me show you how this framework live together. Design thinking, which I already say, answer the question of what, who, what, and ends with a prototype, is the heart. It keeps empathy and creativity alive. Theory of change is the skeleton. It gives a structure and makes us measure. It's our inputs, the ingredients we're going to use, is the activities, the steps we're going to make, and it's the output, what will happen when I succeed. Then comes system thinking, which is the circulation. It connects our idea to the wider ecosystem that sustains it. We always start with the heart, then we build the skeleton, then we open the circulation system. That's what design thinking means. Learning through doing, guided by empathy and refined through reflection. So we already saw how this framework fit together. Design thinking is the heart, theory of change is the skeleton, and system thinking is the circulation. We can move to the next slide, please. If you have any question, please let me know. So, theory of change connect cause and effect, inputs, activities, outputs, outcomes, and impact. If design thinking is the heart, theory of change is the skeleton, it makes your project measurable. It answers like, if I do this, then this will change. Let's move, please, to the other slide. System thinkings invite a wider lens. Every challenge exists inside a network: family, workplace, community, police. What else is part of your system? Who influence or influence for this challenge? Let's move on to the next slide, please. Barriers are clues in disguise. Like those barriers that you saw there, which of these feel familiar? Loss of confidence, limited access, balancing? Then let's ask ourselves, how can we transform those barriers into opportunities? This helps us define our focus. Now, I would like you to write a challenge you care deeply about. Keep it human and short. For example, I see women who, and I wish what? Let's reflect on that. Let's start trying reframing into action. Write one challenge you care deeply about. So let's move to the next one, please, to the next slide. Now that you have your challenge, let's apply this sign. I have one comment here that say, I wish women kept working on their financial sustainability and skill building. Beautiful. Now, let's empathize with that. How do those women feel? Let's define what needs to change. And let's go further. What could help? I see women who are capable of doing big things, but let's see. I'm trying to see the comments here. I see women who are capable of doing big things, but they don't have mentorship and access to resource. Clara, I think you are in the right place, because exactly where you are is where you find those resources that you need. But you can start thinking, how do these women feel? What problem do you want to solve? They have the capability, but they don't have mentorship. Now you find this. How can we help them? They feel probably powerless. So what exactly problem are we solving? We want to provide them with that mentorship, and that's exactly what that program does. So maybe you can design something that brings these women to that program. Okay, we empathize. Now let's draft our theory of change. Fill 5 short paths. Inputs, which are the ingredients. Let's define activities. What steps will I take? Let's define outputs, outcomes, and impact. Keep it simple. If I do this small action, this positive result will begin. Let's see one example of this. One example of keep this short. If I do what small action, what positive result will I see? Okay, now, hello everyone. Thank you. From this presentation, I find women unable to know what their problem is, and with that, it limits how to choose and frame. But if we empathize with those women, like, where is this? Digemo, I hope I'm saying your name properly. You say, I find women unable to know what their problem is, and with that, it limits how to choose and frame a project. I think it's easy to find that the problem you have when you start talking with people around. You empathize with their feelings, and so that guide you to define the problem. Okay, so let's continue. We have inputs, activities, outputs. If I do this small action, this positive result will begin to see change. Like if you start talking with people, then it will be easier to define that problem that you think is not easy to define. Now let's zoom out. Who else plays a role in this challenge? There are mentors, families, employers, policymakers. Those are the systems that I have to look to bring the support that I need. I agree, Ms. Camby. It's self-awareness. Yes, ma'am. Starting with networking and starting the conversation. Perfect, Dr. Mahin. So write your problem statement using this frame. And I want you to do that. I want to solve because so that. I'm going to give you like 2 minutes, and I would like to see that written on the chat. I want to solve because so that. Digimo, lack of communication and self-confidence. Be aware of where this lack of self-confidence comes from. And then we will be closer to define that problem. What problem do you want to solve? Let's write it there. And why? Lately is sharing, I think the biggest challenge for women is themselves. Women are too kind and emotional. How can we reframe that as a problem? Yes. I cannot hear too good. Hello, it seems like I lost everyone. I want to solve lack of confidence. Let's see, we have I want to solve from Clara. I want to solve lack of confidence in stay-home moms because they think financially independence is for those in the working class, and we can encourage them and offer the basics. So really, using our framework, this will be like, I want to solve lack of confidence in stay-home mom so that they can achieve financial independence. No, so they can achieve in a stay-home mom because they think financial independence for those in the working and weekend. So what you're really saying, Clara, is that you will like home stay-home moms to have a work that allows them to stay in home. Is that correct, Clara?
Yes, for stay-home moms to find something that they can do while they are taking care of the family at home, then they can do something that they can do in their home, like selling online or working remotely.
Exactly. So they can have financial independence. Okay, let's go use Clara's example. Clara is saying, I want to solve the problem of a staying mom women because they need income so that they can feel financial freedom. That is a way to write it. That's what we're trying to do. Write problem statement. Let's see if we have another one. I want to solve lack of confidence and fear in digital tools in a stay-home mom so they can sell online. Very good, Clara. Now, Samira say, I teach immigrants students for my country and Iran, and we face problem with a lack of space and facility. If the conditions were better, the children will study better. So that will be like your problem is lack of space. So I want to solve the problem of lack of space because that will allow students to learn better. That sounds. So let's continue. Something is interfering here. So let's check alignment. Ask yourself, is my idea rooted in empathy, linked to code and care pillar? Is testable within a month? Can I ensure this is working, will be working? Is connect to a system beyond me? So that way something is happening. Can we move to the next slide, please? So let's go back to this. Let's think if we can, our idea is empathic, is linked to one of our pillars, is testable within a month, and is connected to a system beyond me. Absolutely, the biggest. Let's see our comments. I want to help raise awareness on mental health so that the stigma and discrimination against people with mental health issues and their families would be reduced and the public will have more understanding and empathy rather than a judgment and stereotype. I love that, Florence. Thank you so very much. So let's check. Again. Okay, so we frame a problem already. Let's structure for empathy. Yes. Something is interfering here, but that's okay. Let me see. Can we move please to the next slide? The theory of change. If has 5 short parts, inputs. What were inputs? Remember the ingredients we're going to use. Then we have activities. What steps are we going to take? We have outputs. We have the outcomes and the impacts. Keep it simple. If I do this small action, this positive result will begin. If I do one small action, this positive result will begin. Let's do that. Check alignment. So I would like to summarize this so you can start working. We begin with design thinking. We define what problem to solve is affected by that problem and what will be different if I succeed solving that problem. Then we move to the theory of change. Remember, after we define what, who, and what, we prototype and we test. Then we move to the theory of change. We define what ingredients we need, what activities we will take, and what impact we will have. Then we move to the other system, which is the circulation. What is in my network that can help me to do this? What can I use? Like this Woman Ascension, by example, is a great resource. Can we move to the next slide, please? So we begin with individual level. What do I have? Interpersonal level. Who do I know? Who in my network can help me to solve this problem? Then I go to organization level and community level. That way I create my theory of change part. I already defined with the design thinking what, who, what, and I tested. Then I'm go to the theory of change. All this at individual level, what do I have? What are my resources? What my relationships, my friends, my family can offer to make this alive? What organizations are in my community to help? Then we move, can we please move to the next slide? Thank you. So let's begin to make this tangible for you because we have like 20 minutes left. Let's write your problem. You are ready to synthesize in one problem statement. I want to solve what problem, because what is your reason behind, and what desired impact you want. There you have it in the screen. I want to solve because so that. And we have some examples there. I want to solve the lack of flexible technical training. I want you to write your problem in the chat using that framework, please. So we have to teach students in a large classroom in which most of them lack textbooks, and it makes it difficult to understand what the message I'm putting across. So by the use of digitalization and frame, a project will help the students to find where clarity will be their powerful tool, making learning easier and efficient. So let's go to our frame with this that Jimu posted. Let's see. It say, I want to solve the lack of textbook that my students have because this is difficult to, let's see, will help the student make it learning difficult so that they can efficiently follow the class. Let's start from there and refine a little bit. Let's make it better. I want to solve the lack of textbooks on my students because learning is not reaching their maximal efficiency so that can learn at a better pace. What about that? Did you like it, Dijimu? Now we have another one from Latifa. Say, I want to solve education problems because I think education is a right, not a privilege, so that every girl in my country can study and change their life. Education problems. Let's define a little bit more, Latifa, what those education problems are. It is access to education. It is lack of teachers, by example. What is a specific those education problems that you're trying to solve? We agree that education is a right, not a privilege. But what are we trying, what are specifically? Here's Dr. Mahi say, I want to solve lack of potential resources through mentorship because it will bridge individuals who wants to move. That's perfectly said. Thank you. And you're already doing it with Women's Ascension, which is great. We have another one from Akbor here. I want to solve the problem of post-harvest losses in agricultural procedure because most of the food harvest is lost after harvesting so that the farmers can prolong the shelf life of their produce. So really the problem, Akbor, here is the shelf life of their produce. So I want to solve, or I want no, let's see. I want to solve the problem of harvest loss because it's a waste of food. I want to solve the harvest losses because most of the food is lost. Because I want to prevent food loss so that food can prolong. Okay, I understand. So that they can make more money. So really is, I want to solve the loss of money in harvesting because the shelf life cannot be prolonged enough. Does that make sense? In my country, Afghanistan, girls are not allowed to study and work. Latifa are not allowed to study and work. So I want to solve the limitation that the girls in my country have because education is a right, not a privilege, that girls can study in Afghanistan. That will be a better framing so we can start then seeing what resources we can have used to do that. Then I want to solve the education problem by providing scholarship for women, said Robina. So maybe it's not education problem, it's access to education, Robina, what you're trying to solve. Salma say, I want to solve my students' mental health problem because it will help them to think broader so that they can achieve their desired goals. I want to solve mental health problem because it helps them to think broader. So maybe Salma, what we want to solve is the limitation of the unattended mental health problem of your students. So let's think a little bit further. What resources do we have to help them with the mental health so they can learn better? Maybe it's I want to solve the lack of resources that my students have regarding mental health because this prevents them so that they can reach their goal. Salma, will that sound better for you? Now, Florence say, I want to solve the lack of self-esteem and confidence in adolescent girls because most girls are making poor choices related to their sexual and reproductive health, thereby sinking them further into poverty and abuse. So we're saying that they following this path because they lack self-esteem. So you have defined the problem, Florence, as a lack of self-esteem. So maybe what we want to say is I want to solve the lack of self-esteem, as you say, and confidence in adolescent girls. Because most girls are they are making poor choices. So that's perfect, Florence. I love that. So let's continue with the states we cover. You want the one, the who, the what. So let's see. Can we move to the next slide, please? Let's check. Is this rooting in empathy? Let's check that if we align this way. It is linked to code and core care. Can we measure this? How? And what connect systems do we have? Let's see. I want the children of my country to be able to study easily in any country where they are immigrants and pursue their dreams, especially the Afghan girls of my country. I will work and work as much as I can for them. Perfect, Samira. Just go back to the framework and frame it that way. I can see that it's totally rooted in empathy. Tuba, you too, go back to the framework and expand a little bit the problem you want to solve. So we make sure we root in empathy. This will allow us to make connections with the people that is going through these problems, and they will help us redefine and test our idea. Remember that testing is very important. It's the last part of the design thinking, which is the heart of the project framework, because they provide us feedback. So let's go to the next one, define how we will measure success. Why is this important? Because we require years to this. We can just use, like in our example of the lady, she did 15 micro courses in WhatsApp, and then their volunteers gave her feedback. She decided that it worked. This is important to measure because it can, let's say it didn't work for any reason, so we can readjust. It's always important. Let's see what you say. Say, I want to raise awareness. Yes. I want to solve the problem, the lack of textbook of my student because of the large classroom size by the use of digitalization and choose a correct frame of project. by identifying community needs and getting closer to those who have more experience on how to bring the change in my community. And also, I think you're doing beautiful, Dijum. You're going to have a great project with this because you're framing the problem, you know what it is, and you're already moving to the phase. I will advise you to go and talk a little bit more with your students to see or I guess it's lack of technology or number of books. So you're doing great. Keep talking with your community, see who you have in your network that can help you so you can move to the other stage. Thank you very much. It's great to see how you are applying all we have seen today. Okay, we talk about measurement, why it's important, because we should not continue or testing of project if our feedback is not positive. So measure matters because it will help me to define what change this need or if we continue as it is before we move to big scale. Can we please move to the next slide? So we move now from structure to purpose. When we frame your problem, we are already practicing leadership. Structure makes empathy actionable. So let's see. We already design, identify a problem that make us feel good solving. We define what is the problem, who this problem affect, and what change we will bring. What will be different if we solve it. And then we end this phase by creating a prototype and testing to receive feedback and adjust as necessary. When we have that, we already tested in a small way, we see the inputs that we have. What do I have? What ingredients do I have? What equipment? What knowledge? Then what actions do I need to take to make this possible? And then what will happen when I take these steps? And then we go broader. We go to our community. We go and see what resources are available to us to make this possible. That is the way we make social change. We empathize, we talk, we expand, and we create change. That is leadership. Each of you just being here are moving there. And you are in this organization that provides you with every step that we need. So I congratulate all of you for being here and taking these steps. Now I'm going to be here to answer your questions if you have any. And I wanted to tell you, I forgot, I will give you a workbook that will guide you step by step through this. Let's see what Salma is saying. Provides accurate data that helps understand reality, assess performance, and determine it. Thank you so much, Alma. Thank you. Thank you, Florence. Thank you for being here. So I was telling you that I created a workbook, but I wasn't able to have a digitally format to share with you all. So I will give that to Women's Ascension and they will share it with you so you will have a guide. Because I know this is a lot and it can be confusing, not confusing, but to define our problem cannot be done in such a short time. And for some reason, the slides were not matching the talking, but The path is define what, who, what. See what resources I have, what is test that, what resources I have, what actions I need to take. Do I need to redesign? It is working as it is. Define what happened and then look around for network. You have a great network here in Women's Ascension. Let's see, we have more comments. Thank you so much for training. Oh, it's been my pleasure, Robina, Clara, my pleasure. I will send that workbook today. Thank you, Florence. I hope this framing help. We will convert it to them. Thank you, Doctor. We need sessions like this. Thank you, Rifat. Thank you, Doctor, so much for the wonderful teaching and message I take back home to improve. You're very welcome, Dimonja. I feel honored to be here. This is a very exciting presentation. Thank you, Dory. I learned a lot. It was a great experience. Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here and to making those social change that we need so much. I will also give Women's Ascension my contact information so you have it and it can guide you further in any other way. It will be my pleasure. Let's see, any other question? Say great so much, really amazing session. Thank you. It's been wonderful. No, thank you all. Thank you, Abor. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Laili. Thank you, Chiro. Thank you, Frishita. My pleasure. Let's see. Doctor, please.
Thank you.
Leia.
Thank you so much, Miss Martha, for this inspiring and insightful session. You remind us the meaningful project that don't start with perfection; they start with purpose. Your words help us to see that choosing and framing a project is not just an academic task, but an act of vision, empathy, and leadership. So, dear participants, now the floor is open for your question. Feel free to drop your question in the chat box or raise your hand. We will be happy to address them. So, ma'am, I have some question that I want to ask you.
Sure.
Yeah. So, what
Debbie.
are the key factors to consider when selecting a meaningful and impactful project?
Okay, the main factor, the most important is that you have empathy with it. Because if we don't have the empathy with the project, it will not go good. So you see, if you want to develop a project, find a problem that really gets to you that you will like to solve. Then, because it is important to you, you will start talking about it, and it will help you define really what that problem is, who is that problem affect, and what is the change that they need, where they will be when you solve that problem. I hope this makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, please let me know. Did I
Thank you,
answer
ma'am.
your question?
Yeah, I got my answer. So the next question I have, how can we align personal interest or community needs with organizational goals in a project?
Can you repeat it, sweetie, please?
Yeah, how can we align personal interest or community needs with organizational goals in a project?
Right here. How can we connect? I guess what I understand, how can we connect our ideas with the community? Is that right?
Yeah.
So let's see. When we have an idea, we extend to the community by talking with all our friends, people around us, because that idea came from a problem that we saw. That idea didn't appear just in our mind. That means it's present in our community. So when we talk about it, what we really finding is what is really this problem affecting to what is the real issue of this problem and how once I solve it this will be different. That's how I make connections. When I have that is fine. Once again I run a micro test with that environment that gave me the frame, and once that work I can go out to my society, to my community, and find organizations that align with, see what activities I can do to make this grow and achieve social impact. Do we have more
Thank
questions?
Yeah, mom. So, thank you
Yeah.
for your answer. So, what are the common mistakes people makes when defining the scope or objects of an project?
The big mistake is not being clear in the problem, because sometimes, like if we go back to the problem we use, to the project we were using in our example, this um, lady that got to pause her career because she has to take care of her kids. So really her problem was not that you could say it was that she didn't have more income. No, that was not really the problem. The problem is, but you define that by talking, by asking. The problem is she didn't feel confidence now to go back because during all that pause, she was not getting up to with technology. So the problem, the main mistake is not digging enough to define the what is the problem and who is affected by that problem. Because if you think in the example of this that we use, who is affected? Was her or was her family for the lack of income? That's where we need to define. And that's where those conversations, when you empathize and start talking, will help you define.
Okay, thank you, mom. So, we got a question from our participants. Can a structure exist without purpose?
Can I extract what?
Can a structure exist without purpose?
A structure without purpose. No, it cannot. We need to have a purpose because that is what guides us. We definitely need the purpose.
Okay, thank you so much. So let's move on to the next question. What strategies help to ensure that a project remains inclusive and uh, responsive to those it survives? So let me just read the question again. So, what strategies help ensure that a project remains inclusive and responsive to those it serves?
Okay, inclusive and responsive is defined, but when you go exactly defining the problem and who is this problem affected, when you have that, it's already inclusive and it's already serving to the people that face the problem. What is the problem? Who is affected for this? Those are the ones you're going to impact. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. So, Miss Kanvi asked the questions. So, the next question, Miss Kanvi asked, what personal qualities have helped you most in choosing and framing in impactful projects?
It's been empathetic. Empathy create connections. And with human connections, you can move mountains. But you have to be empathic, you have to be real. Because people around you need to feel listening, seen, respected. And so when you develop this empathy, people will always feel good around you. Those are the base of leadership, being empathetic and have a disposition to serve wherever you can, always serving. Do that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you, Mom. So the next question we got, how can we use AI or STEAM to solve small problems in our community?
Well, first we need to define those small problems in order to know how to use AI. If you have AI available, it's a great tool. But our first step is, what problem do we want to solve? Who is affected by this problem? And what will be different when I implement my solution? Once you have that, what problem, who is affected, you will find how to use AI.
Okay, thank you, Mom. So we got a question from those who is watching us on YouTube. So when working on a project in collaboration with other organizations, how important do you think it is to respect their work and identity even after the affiliation is formed?
Okay, respect is always important. Every relation with a person, with an institution, needs to be based on respect. So that is the importance that I give to respect. All the importance. It is a base. I hope this answers your question.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is, can purpose evolve over time, and what does this means for structure?
Absolutely. Everything evolves, but the thing is, when you, let's say you define your problem, everything, you test it works, you put it in action. But we have to be looking around us and talking with the people. They evolving. So maybe you do phase two to keep serving and growing the same person that you did. Evolving, you will find it will come natural. Like I work with an organization that train parents. They go through one training, they go to other training, but then they keep asking, what else after that? Can you create it? So we are evolving to that. We also evolving with how the introduction of AI has changed how we communicate with our children, how our family dynamic has changed. So that is evolution. You will see it and it will come natural to you once your project is working. You just reframe and continue growing.
Thank you, Mom. So the next question is, how can we use AI to improve women's access to quality education and leadership opportunities?
Okay, I think Women's Ascension is doing that, but there are many, many ways you can, you can start once again with a little community. Let's say your friends, okay, what will help you, or which way it will be better for you that we start learning about AI. So then she say, okay, I don't have too much time. Like say half an hour a day, which I'll have. Okay, which channel will help you? It will help you through YouTube channel. It will help you through WhatsApp. It will help you through Telegram. It will help you through Zoom. All those channels. Well, this will be better. Then you talk with another one and another one and another one, and you will find exactly how much time, how to do it. And from then you test it, and from then you launch.
Okay, thank you. So the next question, Miss Kanvi asked, as I asked before this, but something extra she asked, What are common mistakes people make when framing a project, and how can they be avoided?
Once again, it is the main problem is not defining exactly the problem. And it's not a task that you can do, okay, I have this problem, I want to solve it. No, it's something that you have to think and use those frameworks that are going to be in the workbook, so it clarifies you. You will see it so clear that once you have that defined, everything will start following in place. I hope this answered her question.
Thank you. So the next question: how do you stay grounded? How do you stay grounded and motivated when a project faces resistance or slow progress?
Okay, it's not motivated or grounded when this progress is slow. That means we go back a little. We go back to our conversation to see what is it that making this slow? Why is not progressing? So, and we reframe it. We always need to reframe, reinvent, actualize, evolve, because everything changed. So you don't need to feel, sometimes we try 10 times, 20 times. Sometimes we try so many times that we let it rest and then come back. But you don't give up. Because if you have a good definition of a social problem that you want to solve, you will find a way. I hope this answers your question.
Thank you, Mom. So there, one of our participants just raised her hand and want to ask a question. Miss Nemati, you can ask.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and hello, doctor. I want to ask about how can I make a change in a strict society or a community like Afghanistan, because people don't want to collaborate with me, and also they are so strict about some cultures, some traditions that are mystic. How do you think about this?
Okay, Ms. Nemati, I really don't know exactly what is the problem defined, but there is always way, because if you identify the problem that is affecting your society, has to be a way. International, all these communication channels. I mean, it's just, I would like to know, I will have to know exactly what problem is to give you
Yes, about
more
about
accurate
women
answer.
education, like woman education or something else.
It is not possible by law, Ms. Nemati? It is prohibited by law?
Yes, yes,
Yes. So, but they can read, they can have access to, I don't know, YouTube and all these channels where they can reach for education?
yes, but some people don't have any internet connection.
Okay, but could you, let's say, I'm just talking, could you, let's say, summarize whatever you want them to learn and have a meeting with them like 1 week, every Saturday, 2 hours, and teach them a little? Will that work? Will that be a
Yes,
beginning so we
because
can
I'm
see
alone. Because
the
I'm
what?
alone. I'm
Uh-huh.
alone. Yes, and some people don't want to collaborate with me.
But what collaboration do you need?
Some I don't know exactly, but some money, some support for some children, because it's a right and they don't have.
So you talking okay, you talking education for children, like a school education.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Okay. It is not legal to educate children in Iran?
Yes,
It is illegal?
yes, ma'am, yes. They don't educate children or women, as you know.
Mhm. And what you're looking for is financial support to promote that education. But there
Yes,
are many
exactly.
organizations that you could reach out. Why you don't reach at me later and we can work this together? Tell me, Miss Clara. Miss Clara, your hand is raised, isn't it? I,
Good evening, everyone. My question is, how do we deal with a situation where, like, most women, they want to learn, some they are willing, but for one to be able to provide guidance or mentorship, sometimes you need some resources. So, how can the best way you can maybe partner or attract funding or financial support from other organizations, especially those international organizations? Because I have learned that there are two sides of the when it comes to women learning digital skills. Some they are not serious about it. You sometimes you offer for free, but you see that they don't even finish the free course. And then the other thing you see that when it's online, sometimes they have a lot of issues accessing. Then when you want to try to do it physically, now it needs resources where they will maybe from their point perspective, it's because they don't understand or know where it is going or don't know where it is going, they see maybe those that are capable of paying, they think maybe it's not worth it. Or some are really willing, but they are not able to pay even a small fee so that the people can gather. Because we know that where people are gathering physically, obviously there are some things that need to be catered for. Then another thing is that how can we encourage or women, because you find that some of them they are not really willing to put themselves out there or to commit. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Clara. It's you said a lot of things, but I think you have a great resource with Women Ascensions, and women will be motivated if we present them with the change that is possible. Like if you say, okay, you want more income, you could do this. I don't know if I'm explaining, but you can start by organizations like Women Ascension, because here there is a group of women already there. So that can help you reach other communities. Anyone else with a question?
Yeah, mom. So we have got some other question. So the question is, can measurement be a tool for motivation rather than just evolution, and how?
Yes, if we can use measurement as motivation, absolutely. Because if we see we're growing, we will have the motivation to look for more resources and make it bigger. If that was your question was asking, like if I'm growing something, that will motivate me to reach broader.
Thank you, mom. Yeah, I just got my answer. So, what is one things you wish you know before starting your first project?
I wish I knew better, but it's gained by experience exactly what I was trying to achieve. Things have so many ramifications that I started, but that was not really it, but I was not aware. So what I did is with those measurements that I'm telling you, those little tests, you start evolving to what really is. I wish I knew had better exactly what it was that I was solving or how do I wanted to solve it more than what it was. I knew what it was, but how was I as a person better suited to solve or to help with that? That's what I knew because many of us go to imposter syndrome. Oh, you see this person that is doing it this way, and that is how other person is doing. No, we have to work with who we are, who us as a person can help with that. Here we have a
Thank you,
comment
Mom.
here.
So, the last question I want to ask, how can we ensure our project aligns with the Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs?
How can we ensure that our project will be sustainable?
Our
Well,
project align with the Sustainable Development Goals.
sustainable goals. I'm missing one word. I'm sorry. How can
Okay.
we?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
How can we ensure our project align with the Sustainable Development Goals?
Developments. I, I mean, your project will be aligned with the goals that Women's Ascension defined. And if it continue growing because it was born on those alignment, it will keep there. Even though evolves, the roots will not move. I hope that answer.
Okay, thank you, Mom. Thank you again, Mom, for your time, inspiration, and continuous support of our mission at Women Ascension. Your presence always brings light, depth, and the motivation we need to move forward. So, on behalf of everyone who joins today's session, we extend our heartfelt thanks and uh, respect, and we are truly grateful for your encouragement. To all participants, let today be a turning point. Start shaping your ideas into purpose driven projects. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Begins with what you have right where you are. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in our today's sessions.
Thank you, everyone. It was an honor to be with you. It was a great pleasure to serve you the best I could. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.